Hello, y'all, and welcome back. So we've looked at two views on akrasia, two views on weakness of will. What happens when you know something is wrong and you still do it? On Plato's view, passion overpowers reason. Very straightforward. On the view of Socrates and the Stoics, you change your mind twice. First, a justification, believing that it's okay, and then, once you've done it, going back to thinking that it's wrong. There's many considerations on either side. And I've thought about this for quite some time. As I said, it's, in my mind, the most interesting question in ethics. Here are just some thoughts. These are not particularly profound, but just some kind of ways of thinking about it. So I have a friend who is a recovering addict and has been in 12-step programs for many years. And I ran this question by him once. I said, do you mind if I just kind of ask you? And he's a very smart guy. He said, sure. So I presented the two views to him just as I've presented them to you now. And with no hesitation at all, he said, Plato's right. Plato's right, no question. And I said, why are you so confident? Why do you say that? And he said, look, I've been in these 12-step programs for a long time, and I've made a lot of friends. And there are guys in this program who, because of their addiction, have lost their wives. They've lost access to see their children. They've lost their jobs, their houses and livelihoods, in some cases even their freedom. There are guys who come to this group from prison. So they're let out of prison, they go to the group, and they go right back. He said, you might justify kind of small things, but at a certain point, if you know that what you're doing is going to cost you your family or your livelihood or your freedom, there's no possible justification you could make. You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to go to jail for this, I'm never going to see my children again, but it's okay. There's no justification, he says. And going further, as part of 12-step programs, if you've done anything with these, the first step is admitting that you're powerless, that you don't have power, that this isn't a choice that you're making anymore, right? It's admitting, in other words, that you are too weak. So he said, no question, Plato's view is correct. Now, this is, I think, a weighty consideration. This is a person who's got a lot of life experience. He's talked to a lot of people, and as I say, he's a very smart and good person. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he's right. Let's consider another view. So I had a few semesters ago in class a young lady, and I don't, to be honest, remember whether she said this in the context of this particular discussion or not. I think it probably was. But she said, I have this boyfriend, and he's cheated on me so many times. And I take him back every time because he comes and he says, baby, I'm so weak. I'm just so weak. I love you so much. It's not you at all. I'm just weak. I get tempted and I'm weak, and you wouldn't, right? You got to have compassion on me, right? I'm not a bad person. I'm just weak. And she says, when I see him, I just feel bad for him. He's just weak. He's helpless. He's like this little puppy, right? I can't be mad at someone who's just weak like that. Okay? He's not being aggressive or mean. He's just weak. And as somebody who's studied ancient moral psychology for about, 17 years now, I started to cogitate on this. I started to think about this. I thought, weak, really? So I thought, supposing that we got this guy in a situation where he's about to cheat. He's about to cheat, right? And we said, look, man, you can go through with this. It's fine, you can cheat. But we need you to understand that if you cheat, we're going to break both of your legs with a baseball bat. Okay? Now, let's focus on Plato's view for a second. On Plato's view, right, what happens is you are weak, just like he said, okay? And on Plato's view, if Plato's view is correct, what you know doesn't matter at all, do you see? The only thing that matters on Plato's view is the power, the raw power of passion, okay? So reason can know everything in the world, right? But if passion is stronger, passion will overpower reason, and you do it. So if Plato's view is correct, this shouldn't matter. Okay, I would say, I'm going to break my legs with a baseball bat, but I'm just weak. What can I say? But I'm willing to bet all the money I have ever made that if we told this guy this, suddenly he would be possessed of this superhuman power. Right? All the weakness would be gone. Just powerful Superman right here. Okay? Able to resist this previously overwhelming temptation. Why? Because in the past, when he cheats, the only consequence he's faced is going to this girl who he knows is always going to take him back. That's pretty light. Right? Now we've upped the stakes. What have we done? We have changed what he knows. We have changed something going on at the level of reason. You don't need to use this dramatic of an example either. Okay? I know and talk to many people, and people will often say, "Oh, I'm a bad texter. I'm just a bad texter. I just see people get texts and I forget to respond, or I mentally respond, this and that." I'm just bad. I'm weak. I'm just a bad texter, which is fine. But every single one of those people I know has one person who, when that person texts them, they hit him back right away, immediately, right? And I always sort of think, what happened to that? Thought you was a bad texter, right? Suddenly, bam, really good texter, right? Immediately, this weakness goes away. Now, again, if Plato's view is correct, it shouldn't matter what you know about who's texting. You're just a bad texter, so all texts get ignored. But it does matter, right? What changes is what you know about who's texting. And knowledge makes a difference in your behavior, which again, if Plato's view is correct, it wouldn't. Now, I'm not saying these are devastating objections to Plato's view. What I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit more work to motivate Socrates and the Stoics' view, because that one historically has been by a lot the underdog in the discussion. Just about everybody automatically assumes that Plato is in the right here. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying as you examine your own moral experience and the moral experience of people that you know, right, make sure to give the view of Socrates and the Stoics a run for its money, because I think it is, at the end of the day, quite subtle and quite forceful. I wish we could do more with the question of acrasia. As is often the case, Aristotle has a view which is even more subtle and forceful and probably right. We don't have time for that. But in the next module, we're going to get into ethical theories proper, starting with a general critique of the project of ethics. So I look forward to joining you for relativism. Thanks.